All right. Boom, ba boom, ba 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 boom, ba boom. Hey, everybody, this is your old pal Jeremy, and we're about to watch Radio Free America with Dr. Barbara Schneider. And we're now broadcasting from the Catchmar Network. For those of you watching us on Facebook, if you want to watch us on YouTube, I have the link down in the description. You can just click on that and go there. We're also on Rumble, and then afterwards we're going to be on iTunes and Spotify if you want to listen to the podcast. But without further ado, this is the lady we've been waiting for weeks now, the great Dr. Barbara Schneider.
Good morning, Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, and all of America. I am here for you. I am Dr. Barbara Schneider, broadcasting live today, Saturday, February 26th, 2022, at the Dr. Michael Catchmar studio. I am surrounded by technology.
No, you're overwhelmed. You didn't realize what it was going to be like. Yeah.
Yes, and you all know how I feel about technology since I'm the lady with a knife.
Right.
Okay, so my special thanks to Jeremy and Dr. Michael Catchmar, who have worked all week and longer to get me set up so I can broadcast. As always, my thanks to Dr. Gabriel Jasper for helping my pain this week. What a difference.
For more information about Dr. Jasper, please go to jaspermd.com.
So we have a lot to talk about because I have been incommunicado with you for a few weeks. But first of all, I want to start by explaining to you, and because we have some followers, and hopefully we're going to have new viewers.
Yeah, we got our
in America.
But Barbara, our babes are already tuning in. We got Liz. We know Liz.
Liz came to the VFW.
Jeanette. We got Quintina from Hollywood, Maryland. Is that it? Good morning. So great to see you. SL says that. Marlene, yay. So happy to see you. Wonderful. So happy you're back. That's great, Edwina. Thank you so much.
So we have a lot of return people, and we hope to have new viewers. And let me explain what this show's about. I am a board-certified general surgeon, and I specialize in the treatment of diseases of the breast and breast cancer. And I've been doing this a really long time, more than 40 years. And I've seen what's happened to medicine. Medicine has become politicized. And I'm here to explain medical truth and fiction to you and help you navigate what's going on, because we've been lied to on many levels, not just breast cancer, not just basic medicine, but everything that's going on now with the virus and the Francine, for want of a better word. So the truth is out there, and I'm here to bring it to you, okay? These are my opinions based on more than 40 years of medical experience.
Yeah, like we usually say, this is where your research begins, not where it ends. So this is an opinion show, so bear that all in mind.
And if you liberal snowflakes are having a heart attack when you listen to me, turn off and go to CNN, okay?
Brilliant.
So I would like to plug small business in Toms River.
Yeah.
For those of you in other cities, states in America, small business is the backbone of the United States of America. And this show is part of the movement to bring America back. Never forget, America is the greatest country in the history of the world. So for local small business in my neck of the woods, there's TSF Contracting for waste management. Okay, that's the Lime Green Can Man.
The Lime Green Can Man is in the chat here. He also wanted to thank Dr. Jasper for looking at his hand.
Yeah. Well, you know.
How you doing, Shawnee?
I hope that hand is better because it looked like a cassava melon the other day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you were the doting mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were there with the whole. Yeah, well, it's a big family affair at
right,
Jasper
at
Center.
Jasper's.
So Lakeside Diner, Brian, stood up to the fascist governor currently in Trenton. Frank and Maria's hair salon for all your hair needs, and my sincere condolences to Antoinette and Jerry for the loss of their dad last week.
Aw.
Very sorry to
God
hear
bless
that.
yous. Yeah.
Okay. Allure Salon for
Allure.
other beauty needs. Brooklyn Bistro. It's a great place to eat. My little old lady club is back in business, -1, and we too mourn the loss of Sharon.
Yeah.
Tremendous loss. The distillery and the brewery in downtown Toms River. C&G Country Cafe. 2
Oh.
locations. That's the Petty family. Great place for Sunday breakfast. Also, Toms River Heating and Air Conditioning. That's also the Petty family. Red Rose Bakery in Silverton. Best Friends Dog Training. Shout out to
Oh,
Rachel.
that's a
and
new
Lynn.
one.
You bet. They
Yeah.
are. Well, we need all the help we can get with my husband's little puppy.
Right.
Yes, sweet puppy, powerful. I face planted twice with her.
Wait, how big is it? Is it a big dog?
She's 8-month-old puppy.
Oh, all right.
Doesn't raw power.
Raw power.
Raw
I
power.
gotcha.
Yes, and we're working on it. Yeah, and Ken's Hardware on Fisher Boulevard. You don't need to go to those big chain stores that were allowed to remain open during the fake pandemic. Go to your neighborhood hardware store.
Yeah,
And-
I got one in Belmar, Taylor Hardware.
Absolutely.
Go say hi to Joe. He knows everybody in town. It's a little hardware store, but if they don't got it, they'll get it for you. Go to Taylor Hardware in Belmar.
And last but certainly not least, Attila's Gym in Belmar, run by Ian Smith and his partner, Frank. I happened to drop in a couple of weeks ago. My daughter and I were tooling around New Jersey, and we happened to be in Belmar, and I said, can you find that gym for me? And she did, spoke to Ian Smith and Frank. What a lovely gym. The positive energy coming from there, all the
yeah.
people there
Supporting each other?
supporting each other,
Yeah.
working out and working for health. One of the mistakes that were made during the pandemic was to close the gyms. Okay. One of the things that defeats the virus is good health.
Mm.
And where do you get health? In a gym. So they've not had a single case of COVID coming out of that gym, in spite of the fact that this is America and you're allowed to run a small business. The fascist governor, King Philip, closed their gym. So they opened it. He padlocked the doors. They took the doors off and stayed there, sleeping in the gym so people could come there and work out.
Oh, that's great.
And they won. Okay. I mean, he put Ian Smith on parole like a criminal, but Ian Smith won.
These are our local heroes, folks.
And now Ian Smith is running for Congress. And I'm going to do everything I can to get this man elected and defeat Andy Kim, who is a Nancy Pelosi puppet and already has $3 million, probably from China, in his reelection campaign. We need tough guys, honest guys, true Americans in Congress. And I can tell you, after meeting Ian Smith, no one's going to intimidate him. I thought I was a big and powerful woman. So my daughter took a picture of the two of us and Frank. I look like a little shrimp. But no one is going to tell Ian Smith what the Constitution says, what the Bill of Rights says, what America is all about. And we need that man elected. Okay.
Yeah.
He has a Republican opponent in the primary who's a rhino, who is doing character assassination. Phooey on him. Okay. Let's go, Ian.
So just so everybody knows, I know the show's just started here. We're 10 minutes in. I put the YouTube link in the description on our Facebook page, so you can click on YouTube in case we get some YouTube, some Facebook problems like we always get. We're also on Rumble. And this is, like I said, this is all going to be put up as a podcast on iTunes and on Spotify. So after the fact. So we're going to be adding more platforms as we go, and we're just growing, right, Barb?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. And the measure of our success will be the degree of censorship.
Yes.
So, just to briefly touch on current events, because you're all wondering about the war.
Right. I got to tell you something. I have been sleepless the last several nights. I had the news on. All I'm thinking about are these poor people, and that leader over there in the Ukraine. Now you want to talk about a hero leader. Forget Biden and our vapid VP. This man is out on the streets with a gun in hand with his people, with everyday people, fighting for the land that they love, fighting for the freedoms that they love against the tyranny of Putin. That man is a hero. He puts our leaders to shame.
Well, here's the thing. The reason the invasion happened is because Joe Biden is the illegitimate president of the United States.
Right.
So Putin took Georgia in 2008 and Crimea in 2014, when Obama, remember that stands for one big ass mistake, America, and Biden were president and vice president. Trump cornered him. The media, in their zeal to destroy Trump, said, Russia, Russia, Russia. Putin was afraid of Trump, and he did nothing when Trump was president. So that idiot Mitt Romney got on the air and said it was the America First policy that encouraged Putin. What an idiot. What a rhino. So what Putin saw, they're calling him the madman. No, he's calculating. He saw that Biden was weak and senile, that America is weak, that he could team up with China against America and do whatever he wants. So he's going to Ukraine. He's going to go to the Baltics next and Poland after that. He wants to restore the old Soviet Union. In the meantime, he made a deal with China. Listen to this. America goes to China with dirt on Russia. Russia turns America down and reports the dirt to Russia. So they have all our intelligence thanks to China. Why did America do that? Because they think that China's going to cooperate with them on green energy. Not only do we have weak and senile leaders in Washington, we have stupid leaders. Okay? So this is the chance with Biden in the White House. This is a chance for Russia and China to take over the world. I've always said that the only thing that stands between freedom and totalitarianism is a strong America, and Biden has weakened us. Now, you also know that Obama's White House doctor is calling for a cognitive test on Biden.
Is he really?
Yes, he is.
Oh, wow.
It's that bad because Biden, he's completely gone.
I know. I mean, just watch it anytime he talks. Anytime that man talks.
So the problem is, once we take out Biden, we get Harris, who's going to talk about the root cause of the war in Ukraine.
Did you see her talking, to other leaders?
She's
and stuff?
An idiot.
I mean, it is humiliating. She doesn't do the homework. She doesn't do the reading.
So
then she goes there and she's ill prepared for what she has to say. And then she blames her staff.
Can you imagine me coming into this show without being prepared?
I know.
I mean, I have to tell you, time is our most valuable possession. And the people who give me their time to listen to me deserve a lot of bang for their buck. It doesn't mean we're paying for it. It means that I am so appreciative of the time people spend listening to me.
Our Barbara babes.
All of them, that I want to deliver news from multiple different sources. I've been waiting for this this podcast to be ready, and I've been prepping, and so I've got so much stuff. We're not going to get through it all today, but we're going to be back next week. So let me keep going. So Biden is a Chinese agent. He pimped out his son Hunter to get money from different regimes, especially China. Hunter is still a member of a Chinese corporation in which he will net probably $100 million or more.
If you guys want to know more about Hunter Biden, Judge Janine from Fox News on Fox Nation, she did a 3 or 4 part thing about his laptops, what they found, and everything, and who this Hunter Biden really is. And she even goes back to see Biden, Biden's involvement with what his son does and all that. It is criminal.
So that's also in the book Laptop from Hell by Miranda Devine.
Yeah.
And the laptop contains every scrap of information and email between Hunter and Joe.
Yeah.
When Hunter worked for Burisma, the corrupt company in Ukraine, he was paid $83,000 a month. Half of that went to Joe. Now Hunter's on this multi-billion-dollar corporation in China getting paid, and Joe Biden receives a monthly check. Over the past couple of years, he has received $31 million from the Chinese people. He is unfit to serve. This is treason. He is helping the Chinese destroy America. We have several politicians who are in the employ of China. But the laptop, Hunter's laptop, which has all this information.
And he's a disgusting pig, by the way.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he is.
So he left his wife and 3 daughters to diddle his brother's widow. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm just
no. You got it.
And they both were using astronomical levels of drugs with children present.
Oh my God.
And the FBI agents who suppress this laptop should be arrested and charged with obstruction of justice.
And this is how stupid Hunter Biden is. He actually admitted that, that they're probably my laptops. That's what he said.
So
he's completely agree. Yeah, that's all. That's what I am.
It's all chronicled. But basically, Putin made a deal with China. Putin's oil and coal goes to China. Biden won't severely sanction Russia because since he made us energy dependent, we're getting oil from Putin. That's why the stock market has not completely tanked. They don't care about America either. China is going to get technology, which they steal from America and give to Russia. And China and Russia will end up ruling the world until they compete with each other. But there may be enough world for the 2 of them.
Yeah.
So first quote of the day.
Oh, I missed these.
I have a whole bunch today. So the first quote is from Matthew 24:6. And it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of war. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Okay.
So what it's saying is that these things will happen, but the future hasn't been written.
No,
that's what it's saying.
That's what it's saying. So, greatest book in the world, the Bible. It's one of my top 3.
Every hotel I'm in, it's there. I don't get
it. Okay, so with that laptop, the New York Post broke the story, and they were silenced by Facebook, Google, and others. These big tech companies have to be broken up and the CEOs arrested for obstruction of justice and held accountable. Censorship is a violation of free speech. That's why I do believe this show might be censored, because we believe in free speech, the Constitution, and everything that made America great.
And Deborah Battaglia, right?
Yes.
We know her.
Yes.
Yeah, she's probably in her nightgown right now while listening to us. She says you definitely have a way with words.
So my second quote of the day is, if the freedom of speech is taken away,
Yeah.
then dumb and silent we may be led like sheep to the slaughter.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
a good
that's
one.
George Washington.
Really?
Yeah. So as a lot of you know, some weeks ago, I had a podcast with the Reverend Schaefer, Dan Schaefer of Calvary Assembly of God.
Oh, you guys got to listen to this. This is great.
And
Yeah.
he posts on YouTube. He was taken down.
Unbelievable.
He is a police chaplain. He received an anonymous call threatening him. The guy's 80 years old. He served at 9/11. He served the Secret Service. He's done a lot of
What
stuff.
kind of threat is that guy? I mean, it tells you how desperate they are when they
Yes.
chase after small potatoes like that, And I don't mind being a small potato, in the big stew. But
I'm a tater tot.
I'm a tater. We're all tater tots.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
So moving along with medicine, the virus, and the vaccine,
Or
also known
Francine,
as a Francine. The censorship.
Oh, Jeanette said that was a great podcast, so she watched it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And right, I was like really, really polite.
Right.
So, and he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And he has a lovely wife, and he has a setup in his dining room. And it wasn't as scary as this. It's a little bit old fashioned.
You mean techno scary?
Yeah, techno scary. Yeah, look at all this stuff here. I mean, this is great. No, I really am.
Yeah, we got a great setup here, folks. Dr. Kachmar, he went, I think the phrase is balls to the walls with this studio here.
So speaking of the vaccine, this is my first picture of the day.
Oh.
I don't know. How do I do a picture?
Right there. Put it right in that camera there.
Can you see it?
Lift it up.
Lift it up?
Yeah, there we go. Lab Rats 2021. Humans took my job. Yeah.
How about that? So why do I say that?
Yeah.
Well, the vaccine as it exists
Right.
is a violation of international Nuremberg law because it was not tested before it was released. It's a new technology, mRNA technology, and there's a lot of problems with the vaccine. And if you say that, which is the truth, you might be canceled. In addition, the pandemic has been medically mismanaged since day one. To his credit, President Trump was trying to reopen the government and protect the sick and vulnerable. However, Fauci and Birx were going out on their own, giving conferences. They were the media darling, and they served to sow misinformation and fear among the American public. As I have been saying for over a year and a half, this was the first time in history that healthy people were quarantined.
Right.
It made no sense. In addition,
and what they did to the seniors.
Well, they killed the seniors.
They killed the seniors.
Yeah, but and again, it's part of the Great Reset.
Yeah.
Global depopulation. Seniors, they're retired. They have no value to society.
Expendable.
They're expendable. Yeah. They were expendable.
And again, that is sickening as well.
Yes, and we have the fascist governor in New Jersey, King Philip, together with his medical
Cadre.
Persa Kelly, who
Yeah.
killed all those people in nursing homes. They're paying out millions and they don't care. They're still continuing with this executive privilege and order, and it's ridiculous. Available, inexpensive medications were denied to U.S. citizens so that Fauci, Gates, and Big Pharma could make money on the vaccine. So all the deaths were part of the greater plan. At least 500,000 people would not have died had they had access to ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine. So masks were introduced to produce.
Now, when we say ivermectin,
Yeah.
we're not saying the animal version of ivermectin,
No.
the horse medicine. We're not saying that because that's what
Right.
lefters are writing about. That they wrote an article. Dr. Ketchmar and I were talking about it last night because Joe Rogan had taken ivermectin and
Correct.
stuff, and then they were like, "Oh, well, this is you're advertising that people should take animal medicines and stuff
Okay.
like that." That's
No. So
Yeah.
the ivermectin for horses comes in a paste. Have you ever tried to give a pill to a horse? Are you kidding me?
Right.
You take the paste, it comes in a tube, you just squirt it in the side of their mouths,
Right.
and it's for worms.
So you got horses, so you know all about this.
Yes,
All right.
they get wormed twice a year.
Right.
Okay. So for humans, it comes in a pill form, and it has been shown to help with early COVID and late COVID and COVID prophylaxis. Okay. 9 milligrams per 100 pounds. And what happened is that the prescriptions for ivermectin were denied by chain pharmacies and other places, and doctors who prescribed ivermectin, some of them lost their licenses. Some of them were dragged before medical boards, especially in Minnesota, Michigan, and Democratic states. And masks were introduced to produce social isolation.
Yeah, it was. Let me see here. It was Mona. Hi, Mona. How you doing? She's one of our babes. She says ivermectin got me walking short distances again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the guy who invented ivermectin got the Nobel Prize. It's a safe medication. It's been used for over 30 years. To say it's just a horse medication is like saying penicillin is a horse medication, because we do use penicillin in horses. They're mammals.
Right.
So
Right.
you can't. This is misinformation.
It's misinformation. You're right, 100%. Yeah.
But they're allowed to do it. And the media is part of the disease in this country. You know, it's very interesting. Time magazine put out an article today. So hot off the
This
presses
is hot.
about the Russian press being suppressed by the government and just reporting what the government wants them to say.
Poor babies.
And I'm looking at him and I'm saying, do you really think we have a free press in America? We do not.
Oh,
because they were going downhill because of social media, and Bill Gates revived them. So they are beholden to Bill Gates.
There was a great Twilight Zone episode. It's called People Are Alike All Over. And I don't know if you've ever saw it. It's about these men that are in a rocket heading toward Mars. Okay. But they crash. All right. And the one guy, he's very paranoid. Right. And he thinks there's anything behind the door, the hatch outside, and he's afraid to open it up. But all of his crew are died. The captain's dying in his arms, and finally has no other choice but to open it up. And then the next scene is him in what looks like a regular house, but it's actually a zoo. And the Martians are walking past to see him. People are like all over. That's what they do. You know, it's always sticks with that's. It's such a great morality play, that one, but it really sticks with you.
And just
let's look at your shirt. Yeah,
let's look at my shirt.
In case of emergency, my blood type is freedom. That's freaking awesome.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I am a red-blooded American. So masks don't work. Social distancing doesn't work. Lockdowns don't work. And the vaccine doesn't work either. So this was never about medicine and health. This was about power and control and money. The vaccine mandates,
Francine mandate.
yes, they're a violation of human rights and Nuremberg international medical law because we were the lab rats. This was not animal tested. It was just an experiment on humans. And it's not a true vaccine. A vaccine like polio or smallpox gives you lifelong immunity. This gives you 2-3 months or less, maybe. And it contains poisons like antifreeze and graphene oxide. It contains HIV virus particles. The lipid nanoparticles, which have been incorporated into the mRNA delivery, caused those lipid nanoparticles were tested in mice and caused 80% of the mice to die. So the graphene nanoparticles have been implicated in mind control. I don't exactly know how this works, but it's supposed to respond to artificial intelligence. I am seeking more information on this. This was something I got hot off the press.
Yeah, I'm still freaked out about fluoride in our water supply, and it does nothing. There's
So,
no science that it helps your teeth, nothing, but it's in our water supply.
so we are seeing an unprecedented number of complications and deaths. And a lot of that information has been suppressed. And to quote Dr. Robert Malone, who is the inventor of the mRNA technology, he says, regarding the genetic COVID vaccines, the science is settled. They are not working and they are not completely safe. These vaccines do not prevent Omicron infection, viral replication, or spread to others. In our daily lives, with our friends, with our families, we all know that this is true.
Yeah.
And as you know, I believe, and this is my medical opinion, the vaccine should be recalled. No one should get it. No one should get the booster. It's not going to help you. It's going to hurt you. And about the poisons, there was, as you know, a database from the military that was released. And this showed an astonishing number of neurologic complaints, cancers, miscarriages, etc. So Fauci, and what they did is compare 2021 to the 5 years previous. So what Fauci did, he ordered the Department of Defense to change the epidemiological database. This is a felony, but this is what Fauci did to protect himself. And the reason he wants 100% vaccination is so you don't have a control group of purebloods, those of us not vaccinated, to see how deadly the vaccine is. And
we do have to say Francine, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the military had some whistleblowers. I do have the affidavit of Dr. Teresa Long, who was appalled by what she saw going on in the military. So now with the Francine, Joe Biden has compromised our military. The service people who refused to get vaccinated were discharged. We have Navy ships not sailing, i.e. the 7th Fleet in the Pacific, which is our protection from China. He has totally opened us up to invasion and destruction. The southern border is open so that anyone can come across, bringing their terrorist ideas, their diseases, their parasites. And until he is arrested and charged with treason, as the Reverend Schaefer would say, we cannot climb the mountain. So
Liz says so they can move in SS type military.
Yeah, and I am going to get to that because Hitler and the SS were a blueprint for some of what's going on now. And the censorship of conflicting opinion, you have U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy saying the government and big tech must censor misinformation. So, me speaking to you and telling you this, they're saying that I should be censored. Only Fauci's word is allowed. And never before in the history of this nation has censorship been completed on such a large scale. We know that the virus was engineered in Wuhan. The research was funded by Fauci and the NIH. The mRNA sequence was possessed by Moderna 3 years before they introduced their Francine. War is coming, people. We have a Chinese agent in the White House. So China has had, they figured this out. They have a long-term strategy of buying American politicians, scientists, and stealing our intellectual property. Just think of the politicians who are owned by China. Well, the President of the United States, Nancy Pelosi,
Yeah.
uh, Mitch McConnell, because his of, and you've got Swalwell, with Bang Bang Fang Fang, and there are so many others. And the ones they haven't gotten to, George Soros is getting to. This is all about the destruction of America. Now, recently, Professor Charles Lieber, who was chairman of the Department of Chemistry at Harvard University, was arrested and convicted of handing scientific secrets and research to China.
Huh.
He was part of China's Thousand Talents program, where they recruited academics from all over the United States to give them intellectual property. By the way, the Biden administration is lobbying for leniency for Lieber's sentencing. Isn't that coincidental? So the Chinese have at least 7,000 academics in their employ. And we know that 100 faculty members at Texas A&M are part of this program, but only 5 have disclosed this.
We have a question here.
Sure.
Tia, I think is how you pronounce it, says, great to see you back. I'm a healthcare worker and forced to get a booster by February 28th. If I don't, I will lose my job. There is no way for me to avoid this. Any thoughts?
If you had either a reaction to the first 2 shots, or you had COVID in the interim, you should be able to get a medical exemption. These vaccine mandates are obscene. The technology shows that once you get the vaccine, you can't get the stuff out of your system. It is a poison forever and ever. That's why giving it to our children is an obscenity, because that may render them sterile,
Yeah.
or they will face autoimmune illness or cancer within the next 10
Now,
years.
I was contacted by a woman who has suffered badly after having the Francine. And these are Francine. What I don't know what the term is for these poor people that have had severe reactions.
Adverse reactions.
Adverse. Well, she actually wants us to, maybe call in one day and talk. And I think it's important for these people to get their stories up, because really nobody's talking about that, are they?
We have what's called a VAERS system, which is supposed to report adverse events.
Right.
In reality, it's only reporting maybe 1% of adverse events. The clots, hematologic abnormalities. I mean, the stuff from the military is absolutely frightening, what they reported. I have it summarized here, and I'm going to read it off to you. But hot off the presses today, from my good friend, Dr. Sarah McGee, a great hematologist oncologist. Apparently, they're noticing acquired hemophilia as a result of the vaccine. That's where you can bleed to death because you don't clot.
Oh,
So you either
Jesus.
clot and get a stroke. The clotting is a mechanism of miscarriage and loss of your baby, or you can get hemophilia. So this is pretty shocking stuff. I just got this morning from Dr. McGee, and she had observed an astonishing number of hematologic complications when she was deployed at a local hospital. And although she tried to report these, the VAERS system did not take the reports of the complications.
See,
So
and that's what that's the bottom line right there. Anybody having any problems with the Francine, or but the ones that are defended, like these corporate hospitals and stuff. The fact of the matter is that it's they always say follow the science, right? But the science ain't working. It's not working with that.
well, the they don't have the science on their side.
Right.
This is the great reset on their side.
Yeah.
And so in terms of people who have not taken the Francine, I have another quote today. This is the first time in history that the ineffectiveness of a medicine is being blamed on those who haven't taken it.
Oh, that's
Is
great.
that is
That's great.
amazing. And
Dr. Katchmar, who's running tech for us here, he's nodding. He's approval of that one.
so in terms of the complications, what the whistleblowers released is as follows. Let me read a couple of these things. This is 2021 in the military, and this is a change relative to 2020. So the total number of diseases of the nervous system is up 968%. Total number of acute myocardial infarcts, that's heart attacks, is up 343%. Total number of pulmonary embolism up 260%. I'm skipping along.
Okay.
Total number of suicide reports up 220%.
Yeah.
Total amount of breast cancer is up 469%.
Chest cancer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous. I can't get over it.
I saw a podcast
Yeah.
where it's a fictional podcast, and a guy is trying to explain to a class how men can menstruate and have babies. I did go to medical school. I couldn't watch the whole thing through,
Right.
and I like this guy. I know it's a farce, but the only thing that came out of this pandemic that was partially good was we found out what kind of trash is being taught to our students.
Right.
And the fact is, people say that, oh, the teachers are great. No, they're not. Randy Weinstein, or whatever, the head of the teachers union in America, said she wants zero transmission before kids can take off their masks. There's been I know one student who I gave a mask mandate to is being shamed by her teacher to wear a mask. There's a lot of that going on. The teachers expect the kids to protect them. That's not how it works in a civilized society. Adults protect the children.
Mm.
So in terms as I say, the Francine needs to be recalled.
Tia says, after the second vaccine, I had a high fever, body ache, and fatigue. Injection site was red, painful, and swollen. Yeah, you know what, Tia?
You should be able to get a medical.
A lot of us had
exemption.
that same thing. I was vaccinated or francinated, and I didn't get the booster, but I was affected right away when I got the Francine, though. I mean, I was out of it. Actually, Mike remembers that. Yeah, because I was dead. I was dead. He was calling me and checking on me.
It
Yeah,
was, nobody should get it. It's poison.
yeah,
It's deadly, and we don't know what the long-term effects are.
yeah. See, my wife, for instance. Okay, now she was on. Now she was. I'm getting the Francine. I'm getting the Francine. I'm getting the Francine. So she gets it, and then after a while she starts hearing things, and what people are going through after having it, and now the booster came out, right? And she was dead set against the booster by that point. Like that was, now she was a woman that was on the Francine side, and she switched sides because of just how ridiculous things got, for trying to force children into getting it. And it went from like reasonable ages down to the insane, like 2 to whatever. I mean, that's, but people were changing their minds. The people that were on the fence started to see things a little differently.
It is an obscenity, the jab or your job.
Mm,
And sadly, because the medical community has been weaponized
mm,
against their patients, they are promoting the jab. The Fauci controls the Federal Board of Medical Examiners, and he has asked them to go to every state board and take away the license of any physician who doesn't promote the Francine. This retribution for telling the truth has to stop. The media and big tech must be held accountable. Hospital CEOs who have gotten big bucks, royalties for forcing their employees to get the jab. This has to stop.
mm.
Hospitals withholding ivermectin. This has to stop. Fauci, Gates, and Big Pharma, who own the universities, the medical schools, the medical journals, and the medical boards. This has to stop. So healthcare workers having to get the Francine. When you have an idiot on the Supreme Court, or more than one idiot, like Sotomayor and Breyer, who say that healthcare workers have to get it to protect them, that's why you see that the dumbing down of the Supreme Court is a travesty. And now Biden has nominated someone based on her race. I mean, talk about racism. She is not qualified. This is an insult to the Supreme Court. Every decision of hers which was appealed was overturned because she doesn't know the law. She's a political hack. And just because she's Black, she doesn't qualify, just like Sotomayor was appointed because she's Latina.
Now we got two good ones here from our babes.
Yeah.
Quintina says, you do understand our schools are receiving government funding for enforcing mask mandates, and no one is reporting this. That's the first one.
Right. The infiltration of all our systems with money from Big Pharma, Gates, and the government is what's killing this country. That's why we're now no longer first in the nation. That's why we're probably last. And in this fight in Ukraine, you got Italy leading the way. Can you frickin' believe it? I mean, not that Italy's bad, but they're not known for their courage and leadership.
Okay, so now we have Ellen here. She says it's scary how almost every college is requiring 3 jabs. These young kids are being forced against their will. It's disgusting.
So drop out.
Yeah.
Do a trade. The universities are worthless. You're not learning anything, and you're chalking up student debt. Go be a welder. Go haul garbage. It is honorable work. You're not the universities until we bankrupt them.
Yeah. But the sad thing is, though, Barb, is that, kids like my son, okay, he's starting to get, I mean, he's a junior, but he's starting to get letters for colleges, and, and he has a dream. He wants to be a heart surgeon. And a lot of these other kids, they have dreams. I want to be this, I want to be that. And now those dreams are going to be barricaded because you need to have 3 jabs to be able to learn what you need to be what you want.
That's why we must defeat the mandates, which brings me to our next quote of the day. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress. That's Frederick Douglass. So let's talk about the truckers in Canada who were opposing the mask mandates. These were truly peaceful protests. If you saw the films of them, they were singing the Canadian anthem and other songs. There were no burning buildings.
Oh my God, they were waving their Canadian flags in pride until Trudeau became a dictator.
So he had like his father, Fidel Castro, he had a total fascist response to this. You had non-Canadian police assaulting and arresting truckers. They were, quote, just following orders. That also went out with Nuremberg, or maybe they don't remember. The trampling incident by the horses. Now, y'all know I have a thing for horses, and I watched that film very carefully. First of all, these weren't Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and we know that because the horses were not black. All RCMP horses are black. That's a fact.
Huh.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
No, it's true. I happen to know. I bought a horse in Canada once, so I spent some time there
Oh,
discussing horses and all that kind of stuff, and that's how I know. The other thing is one of the horses that ran into the crowd came out of the building out of control. The rider had no control of the horse.
could that have been an untrained rider
Yeah.
that was causing it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody
'Cause the
who didn't know how to ride a horse was thrown into a crowd with one.
So the horse always knows what the rider knows. The minute you get on a horse,
Yeah.
they know. And this guy had no control of the horse. It was rearing as it came out of the building. They said a bicycle was thrown at the horse. This was untrue.
Huh.
They lost control of the horses and ran into the crowd and trampled a couple of people. Nobody died.
Thank
But
God.
Yes, but
Yeah.
that's not how you do crowd control. So people, this can happen here. The lockdowns were a rehearsal for martial law, for government takeover. And the fact that they're altering databases and everything is your sign that the government is taking over. So we have to get our country back. We have to strive for excellence. That's why you can't have an unqualified person on the Supreme Court. It makes it a joke.
I said on Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Katchmar, right? I said that there's a phrase that scares me more than the word mandate, and it's emergency powers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now they're trying to make him keep those powers indefinitely.
And
what's that going to turn? I mean, this
you
guy.
mean Canada?
Yeah.
Well, he has rescinded the emergency powers because of the blowback he received.
Oh, okay.
But he could do it again.
Yeah.
And the fact is that
did nobody ever speak up in Canada before this? I mean, that's what it is. Is it just like, they go into Whoville and everybody's singing, and
the fact is the media is not reporting resistance. What I'm saying, we know a majority of people believe what I'm saying.
Right.
But you have a 30% core of brainwashed leftist elitists who are yelling loud enough to try and intimidate us. They call us racists. We're not racist. It's not racist for me to say that this Black woman is unqualified. The true racists are Fauci and Gates and Big Pharma because they experimented on Black, brown, and Hispanic AIDS babies, and they took their experiments to Africa, which they considered their playground because the lives of African women and men don't matter to them. They're the racists. They're the elitists, not us.
Yeah.
It's like the devil tries to get you by putting his qualities on you, but he's not going to get us. We got to bring America back. And the leftists have to be removed from positions of power and influence. It's the same thing as cutting out a cancer. And because of Fauci and his Francine assaults, and not just the current one, but the 69 others that he gets a royalty for each year.
Yeah.
Our children, who are our future, they have allergies, autoimmune diseases, and autism.
Autism is up, but it's interesting because when I was a kid, and for our babes and other listeners out there, ask yourself the same question. Do you remember anybody in your elementary school class who had a peanut allergy?
This is
nobody. I didn't know a single person. Now you know at least 4 people who have kids that have peanut allergies.
Plus, our children are overweight due to big food paying Fauci, and you have to be a perimeter shopper. If you get anything processed, it has this corn syrup stuff that is addicting and makes you eat more and more. I read something else interesting, hot off the press. The CDC has just lowered its standard for early childhood speech development. And I've seen it before. For mammography and to facilitate more needle biopsies, the FDA reduced the standards for that allowed radiologists to do more needle biopsies. It used to be that if you had, like with the BI-RAD system for mammograms, that's a breast imaging reporting and data system, right? It used to be if a radiologist reported something as BI-RADS 5, it was cancer unless proven otherwise. And if you did a biopsy, like 98% had to be malignant. Now they reduced it to 70%, so that if 7 out of 10 biopsies were malignant, you still qualified as a BI-RADS 5. But what it did is allowed radiologists to recommend more needle biopsies and still be, quote unquote, in compliance. So this is the same thing. If you change the standards to accommodate mediocrity, you have a failing America. And everyone who contributed to the downfall of America has to be held accountable. I had a lady from the Basin the other day. She's the one who gave me the affidavit of Dr. Teresa Long. And they're saying that in the military, that's still the real military, if we get a Republican in 24, it'll take 20 years to undo the damage Biden has done.
Jesus.
And we have to start from the ground up. For example, with our schools, the school closures are wrong. Remote learning is no learning. The time on computers allows child predators to get to our children. We've seen an increase in suicides and depression. The media,
it's the children's suicides that are
yes,
gutting. Like
yes.
everybody knows that I've been listening to this show for as long as we've been doing it. I have a 15-year-old boy now, and I hear another 15-year-old, 14-year-old, 13-year-old, when my boy was that age, committing suicide over what's going on via the pandemic or whatever else is going on in the world, because they lost a lot, these kids, and that shouldn't be forgotten either. I mean, these are the children of the pandemic. This is what they're going to be known as in the future. Like baby boomers and all that. These are the children of the pandemic, and they lost. Not only did they lose their social avenues, like going out and playing, being around their friends and all of that, due to the lockdowns, they were trapped inside their homes. Due to the mandates, their faces were covered, so they lost their identities. Okay. I mean, and this is at an early age when they're trying to discover their identity and who they are.
That's why all of this has to end. And for the people who are driving in their cars alone with 2 masks and gloves, you're hopeless. I can't fix stupid.
Oh yeah.
And
I see people walking around outside wearing a mask, and they're surrounded by people who aren't. And I'm just like, like, what are you holding out for at this point? I
these,
mean, I think it's probably over 90% of America has gotten the Francine, which I got to tell you something. That's not too shabby. I mean, we could say what we want about Biden and all of that, but what an undertaking that had to be. Like because there was pushback and there was pushback, but about 90%
yeah,
of America has been Francined.
untrue.
No?
We don't know what the percentage is, probably 50 to 60%.
Oh, because they're making up the numbers,
they're
right?
making
Yeah.
up, we don't know what the truth is. Like I was telling Dr. Catchmore before the program, I just read an article that says that neoadjuvant chemo, which is chemotherapy before surgery for breast cancer, increases cure rates. Now, I know this is untrue, but I also know that you can't believe any of the medical journals anymore because they receive 80% of their income from big pharma. So,
and people out there, especially the leftists, they'll go to a rightist and say, "What are you complaining about? Like what do you?" It's because we don't know anything. We can't trust anything. All the sources for all this information, CDC, whatever you want to call it, they're all in someone's pocket or some company or big pharma. Who can you trust out there?
We're going to need another revolution to get rid of all these people. So now, to quote Mark Twain, another quote, it is easier
let's put that up,
to fool people than to convince them they've been fooled. We've been fooled. Yeah. None of this works. We need to take off our masks, get off our asses, and open up America.
What a great quote that is, because it is so true. So true. It's easier to fool people than to convince them they've been fooled.
And
amazing.
The media has been a participant in this Francine mismanagement. They've been paid by Gates to do this. His $10 billion investment in Francine's has been rewarded 20 times. He's made $200 billion. This is documented in RFK's book. And as for the masks, there's even a book called by Ian Miller, Unmasked, The Global Failure of COVID Mask Mandates. None of this works.
Yeah.
Open up.
This is a good one. Wait a minute. I'm biased. Jeremy loved the shirt. Thanks, SL. But this one down here. Quintina says, I do not believe that stat. When I said about 90%, she says, I only know about 30% of my friends and acquaintances say they are Francined. Yeah, and you're right, Quintina. That's it. Who can you believe? And I feel like the word on the street amongst your friends is more believable than any information you're going to find out.
I wouldn't argue with her. But yeah. 30% could be right. 50% could be right. The fact is, we're being lied to.
Oh, and Liz says to Quintina, let's bring that up. They want to make it sound like there are so few of us aren't Francined, and we are the problem. That's the
right.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It is. We are the purebloods. It is the vaccinated who are creating the variants.
Jeanette says, too late for votes, too soon for guns.
But, get that license, arm yourself, buy your guns.
Yeah, we didn't say that, folks.
and the fact is, what was most frightening about those Canadian police that didn't speak English, that had masks on, and they were probably Chinese agents, because we know the Chinese have been training in Canada, it can happen here. And for example, last week, the district attorney in Austin, Texas, indicted 19 police officers for doing crowd control during the 2020 riots. Now, first of all, that's obscene. How many people were arrested for rioting? None. How many people were arrested for burning buildings? None. If you try
Did
to
you see that? Did you see that film when they have like the police station in flames behind them, and the news guy saying, "Yeah, this is pretty much nothing
protest.
peaceful protest. Nothing's wrong." Meanwhile, buildings are blowing up behind him. That is so ignorant. And what saps do they think the American people are? You know, I mean, that's unbelievable.
They think we're sheeple.
Sheeple, perfect.
And the fact is, we have two systems of justice in this country, one for the left and one for the right. If you assault a cop, it's okay. If you stand up for freedom, you're prosecuted. If you walk around the Capitol, you're thrown in solitary confinement. And you have judges ruling on policy and not the law. That's why an idiot like Sotomayor could say 100,000 children were on ventilators when that was untrue.
Right.
You have to have some level of intelligence. And in that vein, the country of India has refused Pfizer's vaccine application. Much of India has used ivermectin and doxycycline to fight the virus, and they've been unbelievably successful.
Yeah, because it was a mess over there for a while.
They had a lot of people. It's a very high population, high density country.
Well, they had a shortage of wood too, because their ceremonies, usually when somebody dies, they burn them right away and stuff. But because of the lack of wood, they weren't able to do that. So bodies were mounting up. You know, it was crazy.
So anyway, we've covered a lot of things. I do want to say that in Israel, which is the most highly vaccinated country in the world, they're on their 4th booster. The increase of deaths from the Francine, and the mechanism of death is HIV and other complications. The funeral homes are unable to process all the bodies. And this Francine is finishing in Israel what the Nazis started. One of the doctors on my little chat group called it Holocaust 2.0. And this is a total disgrace. And beginning from the grassroots, we need to take our country back.
And now we're coming up to toward the end of the show, I would say.
And
I'm gonna open up the phone lines in case anybody wants to give us a call at the end here. So the phone number to call us on our show it's changed now. It's 732-237-4949. That's 732-237-4949. It's up on the screen for those of you watching us live on Facebook and on YouTube and on Rumble. So, give us a call in if you want to say hi, if you missed us and you want to, tell Barbara how much you missed her, because we all miss Barbara. I got to tell you something. Without this show, I'm pulling my own hair out. Look how bald I'm getting.
I know this was a lot of information.
Therapy for me.
I was trying to pack a lot of stuff in this show.
Oh, you did great. And that we have the freedom now. If we go over our hour, we go over our hour. You can actually fill up maybe like an hour and a half show if you like. It's fine.
And I don't want anybody to lose hope. And I do want to close with my final quote.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So, and without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. Let's remember that part of America's greatness is our Judeo-Christian tradition. along with capitalism, the Constitution, courage, and Camelot. Never let it go. She's worth fighting for. We can get it back. So I just want to tell you, it is so good to be back. If you have a medical issue, I'm in Tom's River, 732-244-2060. I don't just treat diseases of the breast and breast cancer. I'm an old doctor. I do a lot of stuff. So never stop believing, never stop fighting for America. Thank you for listening. This is Dr. Barbara Schneider on Radio Free America, signing off. Have a great weekend. Tom's River, Ocean County, New Jersey, in America. I love you all.
And everybody, like I always say, be kind to each other, and we love you. Take care now.